Good morning. Welcome to this morning's session. We're going to talk about forgiveness and letting go, and how this doesn't just serve our conscious awareness and growth, but serves all of consciousness. So the key to forgiveness is understanding that it harms us. So those kernels of resentment, anger, guilt, shame, whatever it is that we're holding on to about a situation, that's always something in the past, really harm us because they stop us moving forward. They literally lodge in our solar plexus and stop our energy flow. And they also, what we find is when you've got some kind of long-term, especially resentment or anger or something you just can't let go of, you can't forgive, this changes the way you perceive the world, and you become a lot less tolerant to the little things that people do to annoy you. You flip into anger more quickly. So if someone pulls out in front of you in their car and you're and that's because you've got that sort of seed or that resentment sitting in your psyche, in your solar plexus in terms of your energy, and it colors your world. So it stops the flow of joy, it stops the flow of love, and it disconnects us. So what we need to realize is that forgiveness doesn't mean we forget. It doesn't condone behavior. It doesn't let anybody off the hook. But it's not for us to play the decider, or not for us to stand in judgment, because karma, the law of cause and effect, will sort out, it will right wrongs and rebalance things, because consciousness is all connected. When something is not right, it causes a ripple in the pond, and that ripple goes out and needs to be calmed again. And so that's not up to us. But when we hold on to a grievance, we keep that ripple from affecting and bringing about that which brings it into balance. The other thing that people don't realize is, to forgive something, you don't have to have any interaction with the other person. Forgiveness is something, not forgiving someone is something that's totally between you and yourself, and you can let it go between you and yourself. It's about your relationship with yourself. And when you truly forgive, there's usually an emotional response as that solar plexus kernel of sort of harsh energy moves up into the more expansive energy of the heart, and we're able to let it go. And that will often let go emotion. And in that moment of letting go, often we see the other person differently. We see that they were trying to do their best, that maybe something in their past, something about the situation, maybe we played a part in it. We just understand. We stand under a greater truth about the situation. And sometimes the understanding comes after the forgiveness, and sometimes the understanding is key to the forgiveness. Sometimes when we are able to see another person as a human being with lots of faults doing their best, or to realize we might not know what's going on for that person. We might not know about their past, about what's in their unconscious mind, about their past lives, about all sorts of karmic things that are going on. We can't possibly know and understand completely another person's actions or their choices. And so by trying to see that person as a soul with a personality that's doing its best, but still growing and learning, we develop compassion. So when we see someone that's angry and lashing out, we know they're suffering. And when we think of anger as someone's suffering, we can move into our heart response. And when we move into our heart response, it actually helps them to lift into their heart. So if we're coming from solar plexus to solar plexus, we've got a beautiful conflict going on. We've got attachment to I am right and you are wrong, and you've done this to me type of thinking. If we move up into our heart of compassion, we give them the opportunity to move up into their heart and maybe choose a better action, or to just say, oh, I'm really sorry. You know, this is going on and that's going on and I'm feeling overwhelmed. And suddenly we see them as a person who's struggling. And then we're like, it's okay. And we come back to love. So ultimately, all forgiveness, and this is the key, all forgiveness involves forgiving yourself. And people go, no, 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 the other person did this or they did that. It's like, no, we are all one. We are all one consciousness, one unity. We are connected in such a way as that when we harm anybody else or hold any grievance with anybody else, we harm and hold a grievance with ourselves. And really often, one of the reasons people can't forgive is they can't forgive themselves. They know they played a part in that. They know that perhaps their behavior wasn't of the highest. And also by projecting their grievance onto another, they don't have to look at their own behavior. So sometimes there's a bit of avoidance going on there. But if we remember, we are only responsible for ourselves. So I am only responsible for my actions and my behaviors, my words and my thoughts. And you are responsible for yours. I can never be responsible for another person's thoughts, actions, intentions, behaviors, and they're not responsible for mine. And if we could teach our children one thing, it would be self-responsibility for all of your interaction with others in the world. And so you can't change another, but you can change yourself and you can change your response to another. And when we take this awareness of responsibility, we start to understand on a deeper level why forgiveness, why not forgiving is so harmful to ourselves and our body and our health and well-being. And that's because every single one of the trillions of cells in our body is a conscious sentient being. Not on the same, doesn't have the same consciousness that we have in our self-awareness, but nevertheless, a conscious sentient being. So each one of those little cells has a job to do. And what makes them happy, what they live for in their purpose, is to do their job and do it well. So your kidney cells want to do what kidney cells do best. Your bloodstream wants to do what the bloodstream does best. Every part of the system is a sentient being. And we have wonderful connections between different parts in our body that work together. And when they're working in synergy, we enjoy really good health. But us, who you call yourself I, am responsible for the guidance, for the protection, for the nourishment of all of these cells. So if you like, your mind, your thoughts is what governs the lives of these trillions of conscious cells. And this is how our thoughts affect our health so much. And so if you suddenly think, well, I'm responsible for all of these sentient beings, these conscious beings, all they want to do is do their job and keep me healthy and keep the system healthy and clear and working well. And I'm almost like God to them. And if you start to take that level of responsibility, if you're holding on to a grievance, that is poisoning and toxic to every one of those cells, and especially cells of, say, the liver. Makes it really hard for it to function. Cells of the gut, that sort of area of the body where around the solar plexus, where the grievance is held, you're really affecting these cells' ability to carry on and complete their work and feel happy and full of purpose and meaning. And ultimately, eventually, the system will break down and there will be dis-ease amongst the cells and the systems. And holding on to that resentment will cause harm and disease in your body through the imbalance. So when we understand that level, and we understand that all is conscious, that everything is conscious, even inanimate objects have a consciousness, because they are produced from the resources that come from the earth that has a consciousness, and the person who brought them into being, the idea or the person or whatever made them, was conscious. So that means on some level, everything in your life, everything you see in the room around you, has a level of consciousness, even though it is inanimate. And it is therefore there to serve its purpose. And when we're grateful for all the things, that gratefulness opens our heart and connects us to the consciousness of everything. And that's why it will affect the energy in your home. Because when you're grateful for all these parts, all these things in your home that are serving to keep your life the way you want it, it creates an energy of the heart in your home. So you start to see how, excuse me, this idea that everything is conscious. It goes all the way, there's a reason we've never been able to find the smallest particle in our science and our great big particle accelerators, etc., because everything is conscious. You keep going deeper and deeper. Atoms are conscious, sentient beings. You go into atoms and all the little quarks and all the little substance are, and you keep going and there's no end. And when you go out into the cosmos, every planet is conscious. Every star, every system, universes are a being. And it keeps going. We are all cells in a far greater consciousness that has a purpose. We are like the liver cells of another being. Well, actually, as humanity, we're the throat chakra, for example, of a greater being. And so you start to understand that when you hold a grievance or you cause a ripple in that connection of consciousness, it's something that needs to be let go of so that things can flow again and all of the consciousness can return to its ultimate state, which is a state of love. So love is connection. So love is when all of these consciousness, when we are aware of the connection. And so when we harm ourselves in any way, through judgment, through criticism, through our thoughts, through our actions, we harm all because we're connected. We harm all right down through those layers and all the way out into the consciousness of solar systems. And when we love ourselves, we love all, right down into the atoms and right up into the stars. And this is what we're here to learn. This is what we're here to do, to be love, to be connected, to realize this conscious awareness, this conscious connection, to recognize our God self, if you like. So when we heal and forgive, the other thing to realize is that we carry within us all of the line of our ancestors, forward and backward in time, because actually time is a construct that doesn't exist. Everything exists at the same time in the here and now. And that's a whole nother talk, and I don't want to go into that because that boggles our mind. But to realize that time is an illusion. So when we forgive, when we let go, when we return to love and the flow and connection of consciousness, we heal backward through the ancestral line and forward into our ancestral line forever. So when we let go of a grievance, we ensure that our children don't have to take on those lessons. We let the flow of love go forward to our children, and we heal back through our lineage in the past. And people often don't realize that when we heal and it ripples out, this healing goes forward and backward in our own lineage, it goes out into all of consciousness and affects the stars, affects galaxies beyond ours. The same when we have conflict and anger, and our little planet down here is causing mayhem for other beings and other planets in the cosmos, because we have so much anger and conflict, and we're still so far from learning about what love truly is. There's a saying that I love. It says, for every Buddha made, nature rejoices. Because every time we come to a pure heart of compassion and loving kindness, we fall into line with nature. We become love again. We connect, and nature goes, yes, because it feels it. The ripples go out. And this love ultimately leads to harmlessness when we understand our responsibility. Not just, we think we're in our own little composed mind, and anything I think doesn't affect anybody else and no one knows. No, that's not the case at all. And when we come to realize our part in the plan, like our liver cells know their purpose is to be a liver cell and do what liver cells do best, we will come to know our purpose, our higher service, our higher purpose. You could think of your mind as an oversoul for all the little souls that make up your physical being, your emotional being. And we connect to an even higher aspect of ourself, like we're the higher aspect of these cells. And the purpose flows through. And this, once we connect to our purpose, we can only do so through an open heart. We come to know our joy because our life has meaning. Like a liver cell really finds joy when he can be a liver cell and do what liver cells do. That is joyful. And we find the same on the macro level. And we find our place in the cosmos on an even greater level. And that is profound joy. We have the joy of the cosmos flowing through our being. And so you can start to see why it's so important to clear that which blocks our connection, that which blocks this flow, and for us to become ever clearer. So every time a grievance comes up, let it go. Every time, when they're small ones, let go the small ones. Let go the person who annoyed you in the queue in the supermarket. Let it go. Practice letting go, and this will help you to let go of the bigger ones, perhaps the ones from the past, the ones that have emotional charge that hurt, the ones that have shame, the ones that have and you become so that when you do let those big ones go, oh my goodness, the love that pours into you, you feel so much lighter. You feel like you're home, connected again. And sometimes you need help. But the other thing is, once you go through this process of letting go, especially if you're brave enough to let go a big one, to forgive others and ultimately to forgive yourself, what it does, the healing ripples through all those layers out into the cosmos, right down through the atoms, through all the cells in your being. And you learn the most profound lessons. And this means that you can help others to let go and learn these lessons. And this is how we change the world. is because you learn the lesson on Monday and you teach it on Tuesday. And this is what happens in my life. Something I learn on Monday, usually I'll have a client on Tuesday, or I'll be giving a talk or teaching a class or something. And it's like, I only learned this yesterday, guys. But it was such a profound lesson. I understand it on such a level that I can share it and help others. And that makes me feel good. That's like I'm a liver cell that's dancing because I'm doing what I'm here to do. So it sets you free. That's the thing about forgiveness and returning to love and returning to the heart. It sets you free, and it sets you free to do what you're here to do. When we hold attachment to an idea and a perception of how something went, it holds us back, and eventually our energy flags and we wind up tired and fatigued and a much smaller version of who we are. Our light dims. We go into a shell. We start to isolate from people because this feeling is so isolating. We see no good and no positivity in the world, and there's a spiral downward. And it's this, as soon as you let that go, the spiral opens and all the beauty and the goodness and the truth in the world flows in, and you have your joy again. You have your connection and you find your purpose. So forgive, practice with little, moment by moments. Every little, when a grievance comes into your mind, a resentment, let it go. Seek understanding, seek to understand. Oh, I know why they did that. Yeah, they're having a rough time. You know, give them the benefit of the doubt, you as a human being who's doing their best. Let it go and return to love. Resentment really comes from a fear that it will happen again. We think that if we hold on to something, it can't happen to us again. It's the opposite. When we hold on to it, we attract. Our soul goes, come on, you need to shift this. I'm just going to keep bringing situations into your life that give you the opportunity to feel this even more until you let it go. And so in some ways that holding on to that resentment, that it attracts more. And it's like, oh, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? It's like, life's trying to help you. Your soul, that resentment, that fear is attracting more resentment, more fear, more opportunities for you to let go. And once you let it go, you don't need it anymore. Lesson learned, soul ticks the box, don't need those situations anymore. Karmic ripple is calmed again. Everything's back to balance and peace. And you learn, you learned something really amazing in the process. You let it go, you return to love, and the fear dissolves. It just goes. And this sets you free to return to that connection again and know peace in your heart. So hopefully that gives you a greater understanding of why forgiveness is so important. One of the best books on forgiveness that I would highly recommend is, I can't remember the exact title, but it's written by Desmond Tutu and his daughter. And it takes an understanding of forgiveness deeper than most writings on forgiveness, and it's very practical. So if you want some more, that's a good place to start. So we're going to do a meditation that helps us to understand experientially, to experience this connection, this consciousness with all. Because I think it's good to be reminded, especially in a world where increasingly we feel isolated, we feel like we're dealing with things on our own, and to just realize we're connected to everything means we know how much love and support life has to offer us. So get yourself comfortable, sitting upright, feet ideally on the floor, uncrossed, hands resting gently in your lap. Your back doesn't have to be rigid. You can be supported by a chair, but so long as your chakras are aligned vertically. And now I want you just to gently close your eyes. And we're going to connect with our beautiful earth, because we are one of the trillions of cells that make up our earth. We are part of her. And I want down through your feet, I want you to send her love. And you can also do the same down through your base chakra, at the very base of your spine. Think of all the beauty, all the earth shares with us, how generous she is. And just send her love and appreciation. And now I want to bring you into an awareness of this present moment. So just be aware of your physical body sitting on the chair. Be aware of the feeling of the clothes on your skin. Open to an awareness of the sounds in the room. So you feel present in this moment. And now bring this awareness to your breath. And it's comfortable too, breathing through your nose. Just be aware of the breath coming in, the cool air coming in through your nostrils, and the warmer air as it leaves. And with each breath, just take the breath a little deeper. So imagine that as you breathe, you're opening a beautiful channel down through the very center of your body, especially through the space between your sternum, your breastbone, and your spine. Gently releasing tension and coaxing this space to open, especially the heart space, the heart chakra between the sternum and your spine. Until it feels comfortable to breathe from your belly. Now, ideally, as you breathe in, your tummy fills with air. And then as you breathe out, you pull the tummy back towards your spine, but finding your own natural rhythm. Slow, deep breathing. And you will start to feel your physical body relaxing. Now just let your mind rest on your breath, lightly, as light as a butterfly rests on a flower. And when your mind wanders off on a thought, is distracted by a feeling in your body or a sound, just gently, like a butterfly coming back, bring your mind back to the breath. So it doesn't matter that your mind wanders. What matters is when you realize you bring it back. And as your body is relaxed, so your mind will relax. And following the breath, you'll come into a peaceful place deep inside of you. You may only get glimpses of this stillness, this peace. But if you keep coming back to the breath, eventually you will be able to stay for longer in the peace. Now, from this place of peace and connection, I want you to send love to all of the trillions of cells in your body. All these conscious, sentient beings who work so hard every day to keep the whole system going. So start in your heart and ignite that feeling of love and gratitude. And just let it flow out gradually in waves to all parts of your body. Every single one of those cells, you're sending a message of love and gratitude. So all the way to the top of your head, the tip of your toes, every single cell, every little transmitter, every hormone, every part of this beautiful whole. And now in your mind's eye, I just want you to scan your body and notice if there are any parts that are not feeling the love. Maybe parts where it's harder to send gratitude to because there's aches and pains or it gives you bother. It's out of balance. And rather than being annoyed with that part of your body for letting you down, I want you to go to a deeper level of understanding, knowing that something is going on that's meaning that part of your body cannot function in the way that it wants to. And you probably play a part in that, in your thoughts and your emotions. So we're going to turn it around and we're just going to send love and appreciation to that part of our body. And thank it for letting us know it's out of balance, that there's something needs to change. And just keep sending love where it's needed. You may find that your awareness of all or parts of your physical body goes. Don't be worried about this, that's fine. You're just becoming conscious of your whole self on a different level. Now, as you drop into this place of love and connection, I want you to imagine that your physical body has dissolved and that you are consciously in touch with all that is. Let your awareness expand. And if it feels scary, just take your time. Just come back to the breath that will anchor you, and then allow yourself to expand into a conscious awareness of all. You can think of it as expanding into an emptiness that contains all. And have the attitude of allowing this to happen rather than trying to make it happen. So as you relax and let go, it will naturally happen. And just enjoy the peace and the love. If your mind becomes distracted, follow the breath back down into this place of peace and love. Know that you are connected to the cosmos, the stars, the atoms and the atoms and the atoms of your soul. Now I'm going to invite you to plant a seed, a determination deep in your conscious awareness. And this is totally optional, but deep in the deepest part of you, you plant the determination: I will love and care, nurture and guide all of the trillions of conscious cells that make up my being. So I'll repeat this. I will love and care for, nurture and guide all of the trillions of conscious cells that make up my being. I am a child of the universe. I am a child of love. And now gently relax your mind and slowly arise from the meditation, coming into an awareness of your physical body, still keeping your eyes closed for a moment, but moving as you need to. Now today, as we open our eyes in that first moment, I invite you to see the world with love and appreciation as a consciously connected soul. So when you're ready, just opening your eyes with full awareness. And when we open our eyes coming out of meditation in that way, we know that because we are connected, our essence, our truth, our soul, our highest aspect radiates out through the eyes. And as our soul radiates out into the world, so the soul of the world radiates back into our awareness. And the qualities of our soul are truth, beauty, and goodness. So in that moment of opening our eyes as a soul, we radiate truth, beauty, and goodness, and we receive truth, beauty, and goodness, and know that we are one. And this is what being in the moment is. So in that moment, you are present as you truly are. And you may notice when you open your eyes in that way, the world is a beautiful place. It is a good place. And it is a place of truth. So thank you. I hope that that was of benefit today. Namaste.